Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel here on the Koalition.com. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the videos and all the different editorials and reviews we've been posting up as of lately. We got a whole bunch of new stuff that's coming very soon. But today I got something special. I'm actually sitting down with Joel Couture, who's not only a writer for Siliconera, Gamma Sutra, IndieGames.com, CG Magazine, and Warp Door, he's also an author. He's actually the author of the book Fallen Down, Heartache and Compassion in Undertale. So, Joel, welcome. It's glad to chat it up with you today. It's going to be cool.
Man, it's really great to be here with you too, Jake James. It's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
It's pretty awesome. So, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about your book, which is, again, it's based on Undertale. It's about Undertale. Okay, it's an unofficial book about the game, which explores why we want to make friends and the cast of monsters that would normally get in the way of any other RPG hero. You know, traditionally and with fantasy games like that. But also I want to talk a little bit about the game because you love Undertale so much you wrote a 98-page book on it. So there's a lot of stuff in here to unpack. But tell me a little bit about, what really spawned, your desire to make a book about Undertale.
Honestly, there are two moments right at the start of Undertale that have stuck with me, and I've been thinking about them for I guess 2 years now. The first one was when that rock put up a fight when you needed to push it onto a lever.
Yeah.
There's that puzzle at the very start of the game where there's 3 rocks. You push one over, push the other over, try to push the third one over. It's like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? And just that stupid rock putting up a fight cracked me up. I'm just so used to dumb RPG puzzles that having a rock just sass me, and then having to have this conversation with it is like, could you move on the platform? And just having it move in all these different directions and put up this fight. Okay, this game's completely ridiculous. And that stuck with me. And second part, spoilers, but it's 2 years old, so you should really get on it by now.
Yeah, we're
already
past
if you're on a podcast,
spoilers.
if you're on a video about an Undertale book, I'm going to tell you right now, if you read this book and you haven't played it, you're not going to make a lick of sense out of it.
Exactly.
You should play it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I killed Toriel because she was hitting me like a truck.
How are you going to do that to Goat Mom? How are you going to do that to the Goat Mom? That's rude.
Because every game has these moments where well, not every game. Lots of games have these moments where you have this emotional battle with someone you care about, friggin' Metal Gear, when you have to shoot Grey Fox. Man, I'm spoiling games left and right here. You have to shoot Grey Fox with a rocket launcher. I thought this was one of those moments because she said you cannot leave. She wouldn't let me leave the under area, wherever the hell you start the game. But she wouldn't let me leave. So I assumed this was one of those points where you had to kill her. So I was like, okay. I just started hitting her, killed her, and I felt really bad. So maybe I should have tried a little bit harder. And I mean, you do have to try quite a bit to make sure she stays alive. But I mean, I think it's something like 26, 27 rounds. I counted, but I didn't write it down. You'd think I would because I wrote a book, but I'm very bad. Anyway, it was over 25 times you have to try to spare her and keep her kicking around, and then she'll finally live. And then a few steps later, I was hammering through dialogue because I'd already read it. So Flau was talking about something next, and whatever, I've already read this.
Yeah.
And then I noticed he said, "I know what you did. You felt guilty and you reset." Something to that effect, and that blew my mind right there. That the game had. I'm so used to games where if I shut it off, consequences are gone. I say it in the book that I play Grand Theft Auto, I'll put my character in his underwear, run down the street, beat the shit out of people, and then if I lose all my weapons because the police capture me, reset the game. Big deal.
Yeah.
Consequences go away. This game remembered what I did, so I knew there was no getting away from it when I did a bad thing. So just that kind of weird guilt around the game, and having a game that wouldn't let me get away with my usual bullshit when I was trying to be a good person, but only a good person as far as felt the game would remember. So that really stuck with me. And also because I felt so guilty so early for killing Toriel. I'd only really known her for half an hour. She was really kind of a tutorial thing. But I felt really, really bad. So, yeah. So this wanting to go back and then not really being able to go back. But I mean, she was still alive, but something in the game world knew what I'd done. So that was kind of how I got so attached so early, that the game made me feel guilty for being my usual dick self in games and things and
being that guy.
Yeah. So all those things kind of just stuck with me for the past couple of years. And then an opportunity to write a book popped in my head. I just sort of fell in my lap. And how about I write about Undertale? I've been thinking about this for years. I just haven't taken the time to sit down and write it.
And now finally you did, which is cool. So it's interesting you bring up that beginning of the game, because I think that Undertale has a very strong beginning, and it did for a lot of people for a number of different reasons, whether it's Flowey, whether it's tutorial like you mentioned before, or even when you finally get out of that underground area and you start getting into a lot of the different portions of the game when you start meeting other characters and stuff. Now, I want to play a little devil's advocate. Okay, and we're going to get into more stuff about the book in just a second, but to kind of, touch upon this, because I think it's important to Undertale. And again, being the thing that really sparked your interest into writing this book, I think we should kind of touch on it. To play devil's advocate, I'm one of those people that has a little bit of an issue with that with Undertale. And one of the things that I have, again, just unique to me as a player, even though I think Undertale's phenomenal, I think Undertale is a great game that everybody should play at some point, as an indie game, as a different way of approaching game design. I think it's interesting in the way that it presents different stuff to the player, not only just with consequences, but also in the presentation of stuff, how everything could be so radically different depending on how you play. With me, and I relate this to Mass Effect, specifically Mass Effect 2. If you remember the suicide mission from Mass Effect 2, if you played Mass Effect 2 before?
Yep.
Okay, you remember...
That was a high-stress ending. That was a high-stress ending.
Exactly. So there's a section where you have to choose different characters in order to do specific tasks, in order to move on throughout the entire suicide mission. And if you choose the wrong characters that aren't suited for a certain job, they'll die. And I remember, for me, choosing Morden for actually doing some sort... I forgot what task he was supposed to do, but he ended up getting killed. And all of a sudden, I freaked out. I was like, nope, hard nope, reset, no. Morden, you have to cure the genophage. And all of a sudden, I just totally reloaded my last save. I didn't even save the game out at that point, and I wanted to go back and actually redo that entire section. I like, as a player, as a consumer, as someone that, me being an individual, I like being able to have that power where I feel like not only does it give me a crazy emotional response where there's that potential for that to happen, the consequence there, but also I want to feel like, as I'm going through this experience as a player, I want to be able to have that ability to go back towards the path that I was really trying to aim for. Even though, again, consequence is a really good thing that, to offer in any sort of experience for a game. With Undertale, I feel like you don't get that. You like you mentioned, you don't have that ability to kind of rewind time. You don't have that ability to hard reset everything and just continue on your path. Whatever consequences you get, it's sticking with you. No matter how many times you play that game, no matter how many times you go about things differently within your experience, it's always going to remember if you did something bad. And it really kind of sticks it to you. And I was never really a fan of that too much, especially towards later parts of the game. But I always remember that's what made Undertale special.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think I'd want this in every game. Like, I appreciate it. I appreciate being able to shut things off and goof off. Like I mentioned Fallout a lot because I like to just gotta go around, be an asshole for like an hour and then reset it because I don't really want to be that person in the game. Exactly. It's kind of like a vent. So, and I was the same. I would have been the same as you in Mass Effect 2, but I Googled the shit out of anything to do with that last mission. I'm like, no, everyone's coming home with me because I love all of you for different reasons. Like, I can't remember.
My boy
Krogan guy. Yeah, Garrus had to survive.
Rex.
There was a point. Yeah, Rex. There was a point. That might have been Mass Effect 1, but Rex was in like this tense potential shootout, or was it? Oh, I'm glad you can edit this. I'm getting names left and right.
Yeah.
But like the Krogan in 2 was having the potential to start a shootout with like another character and I think die in that sequence over the genophage. I'm trying to remember how that happened.
I don't think it was more. I know exactly which section you're talking about. Like, I don't remember the specifics of it, but I remember, like, distinctly that section, like, trying to defuse that situation. Trying to make sure everybody gets along.
Yeah, I knew I had to reset that, like, 3 or 4 times before I figured that out. But, like, I do appreciate having that ability because, like, that's kind of, like, one of the fun parts of games is, like, I can do whatever the hell I want. And if I make a mistake, I can erase it. I enjoy that a lot. I just felt it was important for what Undertale was doing, so I think it's really effective in Undertale. I'm not sure I want to see it all the time, but just for Undertale's kind of get its hooks in, like really make that the choice to be non-violent matter, because like a big part of it was nobody getting hurt. So in a game where you want to make sure no one's getting hurt, you don't really want the player to just say, well, screw it, I'm just going to go beat the shit out of everyone for a couple hours and then come back to it. I guess it's kind of counter to the spirit. I mean, I'm sure it would have still been a fun game if you could reset everything and just take it away, but I think it made it a bit more special and it made me kind of a bit more considerate of the enemies. Because at that point, I'd been killing Like those stupid carrots. I hate Vegetoid. I hate Vegetoid at the beginning of that game. That stupid eat your greens is like the hardest thing to dodge at that point in the game, and it drove me insane. So anytime I ran across a carrot, I killed it. And then after that point, I stopped kind of looking at it like a regular RPG. Like I can't kill some of these guys and then still be a good guy because the game's going to kind of react to it. So like I totally agree that like I can see why it'd be a sticking point for somebody because it's nice to be able to go back. Like I ended up I had to play on a different computer after this to do research for the book because I needed to know how it happened fresh.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a nuisance. And there are points where you want to go back and just play it completely clean. So I completely understand why it would bug the hell out of people, but I felt it was important for what it was trying to do, or at least to me. I mean,
you know what I think it is? You know what I think it is, though, and why, some people really like that or really kind of get annoyed by that with Undertale is because the game almost condescends you for taking certain actions. Specifically, if you go around killing people, if you go around killing some enemies and not everybody else, it still condescends you, especially as you get towards the end of the game when you start talking to some of the other characters and, you get towards that final section of the story. It really kind of makes you remember and be like, hey, listen, you did this messed up thing a while ago. Don't think we didn't forget that. And it kind of really kind of pokes fun at you throughout the experience, unless you completely go about it with like the good guy attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does get its digs in. I don't know if condescend is the word I would use, but it felt like it wanted you to know that the violence was never okay, no matter how minuscule you think it is. Or like the player, not you, Jake.
No, not me.
Not you specifically, but it just it wants you to realize it's important no matter how small the characters were. Like I noticed later in the game, like a lot of those characters you spare will come back and be poking around the world. So it was kind of neat for me to feel like my sparing them had done something. So I felt like all these characters I would normally dismiss as insignificant had an importance in the world no matter how little I thought of them. So they had to kind of make a big deal about it at the end of the game. Just keepers.
Pretty much,
I'll get to
yeah.
the point eventually.
It's a good thing because, the game does it in both ways, both if you're a good person or if you're a really bad person, where if you go about it the, genocide route, like, the music will change, there'll be no puzzles, it'll be very dour and dreary, it'll really, again, really drive home the point, both through dialogue or in the lack of dialogue, as well as the atmosphere of, like, the consequences of your actions. And then on the flip side of that, everything is a little bit more joyful, everything's a little bit more positively reinforced if you end up not sparing everybody and really kind of going about stuff in a peaceful route. And I think that's what makes Undertale so interesting, is because there's such a dichotomy in the way that you could approach it and stuff. One of the things I want to touch on, to get back to your book specifically, is that you made a point about how the characters, the enemies themselves in Undertale all have distinct personalities. That they're, in essence, even though they're monsters and stuff, they have a lot of human qualities to them, a lot of human traits to them, human personalities built into them that makes them feel all the more real as you're going about, playing through the story, whatever route that you're taking. So if you end up having conversations with them, you'll have crazy, quirky convos and dialogue and outcomes of what happens with each engagement, as opposed to when you go out and you kill them, like all of a sudden, again, you start to really see them emote in different ways, like, that they're sad that you killed their teammates, or that they're sad specifically because you're coming after them, and the list goes on.
Yeah, they all had really just kind of even if it was just one trait, there was something interesting about every single one of them, or just something that gave them a bit of a personality, just that wash you thing, just wanting to soap you up and wash you down, just these little weird bits, or how the dog, even many of the dog enemies had to be kind of approached slightly differently, but all of them kind of wanted to be petted, and it was just I don't feel right killing these things when I know this stuff
guilty.
about them. It's I feel like a huge piece of shit when I do that. It's just it's just a cute dog that wants to be petted, or this volcano just wants your some moral support, or this weird siren monster just wants to sing, or this horseman wants to flex with you. They're all just kind of chill people. When you talk to them and take a minute to get to know them, they're just kind of scared because you're a human and humans sent everyone down here, so you're hey, this guy's kind of cool, let's talk with him. And then seeing them out in the world again later and getting those little bits of conversation, it humanizes things and makes grinding feel really a really guilty process because of it. Because it's like you say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I lost it. It's gone.
No, but what I was gonna say is that, and you know what adds on to all of this? You know, besides what you get in the game, what I noticed when Undertale first came out, or when it really got popular, especially online on YouTube and a lot of other places. So even the dog agrees that he loves
Bear with me for a sec.
But okay.
Sorry, apparently there was one person walking outside, and that's cause for alarm.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it. I'll edit it out. So,
yeah,
like I was saying, though, one of the biggest things about Undertale when it came out that I noticed, you know, outside of all the stuff that we get from the game, is the reaction that everybody had to it when everybody's playing. And also the way that everybody was reacting to other people as they were streaming it and as they were showing their gameplay and stuff. They were really kind of like encouraging people, no, do the pacifist route, do the positive route, don't do the genocide route. Or like they would get really upset if you decided to go about it in the genocide run, and like Twitch streams and chats would just go like crazy, like losing their minds if somebody was to actually do that and stream it. Or on the flip side, if there'll be instances where everybody wants to be like a masochist and like really go around and like killing everybody and stuff. But the crazy amount of ranges of reactions that you had from everybody else that was like reinforcing you one way or the other, I thought was interesting, because I'd never seen that with any other game before.
Yeah, no, it seems to just drag up this emotional reaction from people. Like I said, I feel guilty. I felt really guilty doing the genocide run for the book, because I love these characters. That's why I kept playing the game and like coming back to it. So like I would probably do the same thing if I hopped on a Twitch stream and see people doing a genocide run. I was like, no, please don't kill Papyrus. I can't watch that happen again. He's so positive.
And then the best part is that specific part when you kill Papyrus, that's like so cold. Like that hits you right in the heartstrings when stuff like that goes down.
Yeah, like I talk about it later in the book. That is that I quit the first time I did I was doing one just for fun. But I quit at Papyrus because he supported you even as he's like falling to pieces. He's like, I think you can still be a good person. Everyone else you run into either doesn't know what to expect and you just annihilate them, or they know exactly what's coming and they don't care about you anymore. But Papyrus is like the last time where he's like, no, I still think you can be a cool dude, and it's just so sad. But just I felt because of all these like character traits that people got attached to the characters. So I can see why people would get upset watching that on stream, because these are still somebody killing your favorite characters, and it would still be just kind of upsetting because you've kind of grown attached to them just from getting to know them. Like it's like any of your buddies. Like I mean, I'm sure we just like learn superficial things about like strangers in our lives, and maybe I don't care about them as much as an Undertale character, which is terrible. But I don't know. I feel like you did, at least I developed an attachment to them from getting to know them and having to do that through like combat. Cool. So I don't know. I guess I was just so used to fighting monsters that like getting to know them helped them when I normally used to just clobbering them. Helped me develop like this weird attachment to them. So I'd get
no Hulk smash with this one.
No, you don't get to clobber these. Plus, killing a dog is just terrible.
Exactly.
I couldn't any game. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, how can you do that to the dog? This is why I got beat for Call of Duty. That's all I'm saying. But to kind of play devil's advocate again to all this, okay? For someone that might be looking at this from the outside looking in and stuff, do you think that maybe sometimes, yourself included, myself included, or anybody else that you might know that personally that has played Undertale and felt whatever way about it, do you think that maybe sometimes we put a little bit too much stock or too much emotional investment into some of these characters, where again the reactions and just the kind of way the people's behavior when this game was really popular on Twitch and stuff in regards to some of the stuff that they saw on stream or whatever runs people were going to, killing the characters or not killing the characters, do you think that sometimes people put a little bit too much of themselves or too much investment emotionally into these characters at some point?
I don't know if it's too much. I mean, I think everybody has their own kind of level of attachment they get to these characters, and like, I'm not going to go on someone's stream and really tell them what to do. I mean, I might go, no, please don't, but I don't actually mean, change the way you're playing the game. Like, by all means, tackle it however you like. But I don't know. I just felt that Toby had done a really good job of developing the sense that you could get attached to these characters, and I mean, whether you're emotionally open to that kind of thing. I mean, not that there's anything wrong. I mean, it's still us manipulating a bunch of like clutches of pixels out of code. like it's still not real people, but just those of us who are kind of prone to getting attached to characters and like as you get to know them, like I get really attached to characters when I'm doing like reading a good book or like playing a game and things like that, and that I had so much agency over their well-being kind of made that so much stronger to me. So like I think various people are going to get various levels of attachment. I'm just the kind of person who's prone to get really attached to characters, so that's why the game kind of worked that way for me.
Yeah, again, you're spending a lot of time with it, so it's only natural that you would develop some sort of connection or some sort of bond with the characters like that. And it doesn't matter, all games are like that, especially an RPG. Any RPG out there, Western or Japanese RPG. So let's talk a little bit more about the book itself, the process of making the book up to this point. Again, it's about 98 to almost 100 pages, give or take. And I want to know, what was the toughest part about making the book? Now, you mentioned that, you have some quotes and stuff from Toby Fox in the book. Did you ever at any point actually speak with him, actually sit with him, or maybe talk with him about the book or about the game itself?
No, we've only ever spoken via email. He's a very private person, and like he wants, I think, well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he wants people who play it to kind of get their own idea and pick out what they want from the game, make their own meaning of it, rather than him trying to supply it. He's always been kind of like shy about like coming straight up and just saying why he designed something a certain way. So I've never managed to actually speak to him in person, just over email. But he is just as ridiculous in email, and just as prone to teasing me if I ask him a stupid question. So, I don't know. I just enjoy talking to him over email.
That's cool. So besides that, then, what was the more kind of like tougher challenges you had to deal with when you were actually writing the book? Besides like replaying the game over again or going back and restarting, with a brand new, fresh save state, things like that. But what was really kind of like the hurdles you had to kind of overcome in order to create the book?
Like honestly, writing it was a surprising breeze. I actually had to go to my editor and ask him if it was okay if it was double the length I quoted him to begin with, or double the length I quoted him to begin with, because I thought it was only going to be about not even half the length it is now. so I was kind of scared there because like I just kept talking and like things just kind of kept shaking free. I think better on paper than I do while talking. Like this is probably the most talking I'll have done in a very long time.
Sorry.
So when no, it's fun. I enjoy talking. I just never do it. But things just kind of shake free when I sit down and write. So like the whole process of writing the book was just really relaxing and fun. The only hard part was like I gave myself an allotted amount of time, and it was definitely going to take much longer than I thought it was. So just because I had so much to say. So just and I mean you just go through that period where as a writer you worry that, am I just rambling and no one cares? Like, am I just going on and on, like belaboring my point? So that kind of stressed me out a bit. But once I went through my editor and he said, no, it's great, you're fine. That was probably one of the highest stress moments. But honestly, the book was it just felt very comfortable and natural. It just kind of all just came falling out of me. It was a very cool process. I haven't written anything really long form like this about a video game before. So it was just like, it was really great. Like I really enjoyed it. So hopefully I'll be able to write more ridiculous books like this in the future, assuming not everyone hates this, but we'll see.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's interesting. Now, like you mentioned before, and again, we'll kind of touch on it again. Did you ever think like maybe because of like, again, this being a long form type of piece or just a long form book that you were writing, did you ever think like maybe you weren't going to be as focused as maybe you wanted to, because you said like you had so much to say, and again, like you mentioned, sometimes getting caught up in rambling or getting caught up on tangents and stuff could sometimes be a real hurdle or a detriment whenever you're trying to write something really good or trying to get a point across or trying to make an argument or something for the people that are reading it. Did you ever think like maybe you would be like so unfocused and maybe not have everything come together at some point? At least, back then as you were writing the book.
Oh yeah, I worry about that constantly whenever I'm writing. I worry that it's like, does this really have a point? But I've been doing game journalism for about 6 or 7 years now. And at this point I just tell myself, like, just write the damn thing. Don't think about it. Just puke it all out onto the page. And when you're finished, you can give it a look over and see if it needs to be kind of like adjusted into like a deeper meaning. And I mean, I feel like I got lucky with the Undertale book because it felt like things naturally kind of came to a head as I thought of everything. I didn't write the introduction. The introduction was the very last thing I wrote. because
Really?
I wasn't 100%. Yeah, I'm never 100% sure what I'm going to write when I'm sitting down. I just sort of see where it takes me because for whatever reason, like I said, I think better on paper. So if I type, it kind of clears my mind and focuses it. Even though I never give myself credit for being able to focus on paper, I'm always worried that I'm not. But it just seems to come together kind of easily in the end. So I mean, I do worry about it a lot, but it felt like it kind of naturally built to a conclusion. It wasn't the one I thought when I sent in my outline to my editor. I thought it was just kind of like really the first half of the book is all I really thought it was going to be. Like just like why I think everybody loves Undertale characters, like why the characters are so good, why fighting and talking to them is so good, why the environment's so good, why the music's so good. I just thought it was going to be just kind of like Toby, you're swell. Here's the long form version of that. But but then I kind of started figuring out some things from the genocide run, and things just kind of naturally came together. I guess I was really lucky in that regard that my brain worked that way. It's like, good job, brain.
Interesting stuff. That's interesting. Writing the intro last. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody like really talk openly about that. Because usually, how it usually goes, conveniently enough, you write the introduction and then you go from there like that. But I like the idea of maybe like, okay, you go about the process, saying what you have to say, and then looking back on it and then talking about it. That I think is interesting to me because it sets up everybody for what they're about to read, and I think that's pretty cool. So let me ask you this: what do you feel is the best part about the book? Or what is the best thing about it, that what it does, or whatever it is that you say? Is it like the middle? Is it something that you cover towards the later half or the beginning of the book? What do you feel is the best part about it that people are really going to resonate when they pick up the book this August?
I'm hoping they kind of resonate with the fact that I never want to play it again. Like it's kind of a weird conclusion I came to through the book, and I don't want to spoil too much of it. But just some of the repercussions of going back with a genocide run in a game where consequences matter and are carried over, and being a terrible person to these characters I'd worked so hard and like enjoyed spending so much time with, to come back and just kill them because I want to write a book, like just kind of like out of like this morbid curiosity, like just to like go back and kill these characters I love. Like just I think that's kind of the strongest point of the book, is just kind of the way in which I often go back to game worlds I fixed and characters I love, and I ruin their lives again. So I think that's probably the most interesting takeaway from the book. At least I hope it is. I mean, take whatever you like from it. I just hope people like it. But that's really what kind of seemed important to me in writing this.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like trying to think about it, like going back and being that guy. Just ruining it. That's like we said earlier. Like Undertale is one of those games where you don't want to be that guy. It's just like you want to be a good guy. You want to feel like you did something good. You want to feel good about it, and it's just like it really discourages you from being that guy.
Yeah, I like the characters so much, and but it is a badass game if you want to go and be like a bad person in that game. Like if you want to be bad in a video game, that'd be the game to do it in. Because like you can see the effects of being an
really
asshole.
Test you.
It's hard, like you fight some like brutal bosses. Like it's if you wanted to be an asshole, like I said, this would be the game to do it, because it makes you feel like a badass. Like I've cleaned out an entire world. Nobody's here. The music isn't even here anymore. Like it's cleaned out.
That's when you know you messed up, when the music doesn't even want to be there anymore.
Yeah, I know. That was actually when I knew I'd fucked up seriously. It's like, okay, this is really eerie now. Like, not so much that everyone's dead, is that it sounds weird.
It's just like everything, again, the whole tone and the atmosphere, everything about that game changes depending on which route you go. And I think that's what makes it special. I think that's what makes it unique amongst a lot of other games, especially when around the time it came out. But even now, looking back, since it's been out for a couple years, and seeing all the other like RPGs and style of games that we've had come out since then, it still remains unique as its own thing that just, stands really well compared to other games I've seen played.
Yeah, it's just the way it kind of invests you. Like, I mean, lots of RPGs invest you emotionally, but just like that, I felt like I had so much control over it, even though it's still a video game and I only have so many things I can do in it to like change fate. But I just felt whatever happened to the people in this world, I was in charge of it. Like, if I wanted to be bad, I could be bad, or if I wanted to help everyone, I could do that. Like, it just. And the fact that the game would reflect on it, like if you were bad enough, it would remember it forever. Like it just felt I guess the decisions had weight, like this real weight to them. Like I like kind of being a good guy in other games, but like it still feels like a morality is kind of like a all white, like all one side, all another.
Like a harsh
Like,
consequence.
yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So
Very,
I'm starting to
very
ramble.
Nah, nonsense. But either way, Joel, thank you for chatting it up with me about your book, about Undertale. This was cool. It was great to at least, kind of deep dive a little bit into Undertale. Because I don't think I've had a deep dive just yet about Undertale here on the website, which is kind of dope.
No, I really appreciate you having me out. Like, it's fun to be able to talk about it. Like I said, I don't talk much, so it's so much fun to talk to another person. I'm so lonely.
We got you talking. We got you talking too much now. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out, see how everybody liked it, see what happens. But
I hope
your book is coming out soon. It's coming out in August. Okay, it's gonna be coming exclusively from the story bundle in August. Okay, that people will be able to check it out on their website. What else can you tell us about the book for people that are interested in picking it up?
I think I've said most everything about it. Like, it's if you really want to kind of like look at my idea on why people got so attached to the characters and why I feel like they resonated with people and why it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad to be terrible to them. I try to look at that. Plus, it's got a really, really cute cover from Temi Chang. She was fantastic.
I saw.
Yeah.
I'll probably have that as the main pick for this actual interview, so everybody could see it.
Exactly. Just pay for Temi's artwork. Like, it's worth it alone.
Damn it, definitely. It's really, really cool. But one other question I want to ask, what do you think that Toby Fox is going to say when he finally picks up the book? Has he read it yet? Have you sent him a copy?
He's had a little bit of a look over, but he's always quiet, so I'm never sure what he's thinking. So he might say something. I don't know. I have no idea what he's going to think. He's never expressly said what he thinks of my articles, but he always thanks me for them. Like he without fails always thank me. So I think he appreciates them. And I think he likes hearing what the fans think. I mean, I don't know for sure, but a lot of it is from my impression, I think he enjoys like hearing what fans think. So I hope he'll appreciate this in-depth look at how I feel really bad hurting the characters he worked so hard on.
We're gonna have to send him this interview. Tell him, be like, hey, listen, Toby, this is what we had to say. Hopefully, he gives you the "you done good, kid." Like at least if he gives you that, he gives you the thumbs up seal of approval. You're good, and you're in the clear.
Yeah, if I get an LOL from him in an email, we know we're rolling. That's
the official Undertale fandom seal of approval. You get the LOL from Toby Fox. There, you're good to go. You're set for life at that point. It's a get out of jail free card forever. Straight up. But again, Joel, thank you for chatting it up with me here on the Coalition. Again, we really appreciate it. Again, guys, make sure that you guys check out Joel's book. It's going to be out in August from the Story Bundle exclusively. There'll be links here in the description box as well as also on the website so you guys can go directly to it to check it out. So where can they find you, Joel? You're on social media. Where can they find you?
I'm Joel_Couture, Couture, because I know nobody likes to spell it. Although Randy Couture, thank God, has made my last name more famous, so people usually know how to say it. So I'm usually there. I'm poking around Silicon Era. If you want weird indie news, I like to pick out really strange games. That's how I found out about Undertale so early. Warp Door, CG Magazine doing reviews, and Gama Sutra. Anytime they let me say something that sounds kind of smart, or at least copied what other smart people are saying, and then try to say smart things around it.
Whatever works, man. Sounds cool. There'll be links in the description box below, guys, so you can check out all his stuff. And again, you guys can check out the book as well. But thank you, Joel. Thank you guys for listening to this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure that you leave a like on this video, leave a comment down below in the comment section, and subscribe to the Coalition's YouTube channel. We got a bunch of other videos here that you guys are going to enjoy. Hopefully I get some more interviews down the line very soon that you guys get a kick out of. And we will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.